So, what did installing a lift do to my new Toyota Tacoma? You know, I had a lot of people leaving comments about this and that, and I was going to regret it and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to let you know what it really did to my truck. Before we do that, though, gotta say, you know, I keep adjusting the seat and everything to get, you know, it's a new truck, to get the way that I want it, right? And it's amazing. I've been pulling the seat up, and it's because I think I've got the spoiler, or the hood scoop rather, the hood scoop on the hood, the front of the truck, and I'm trying to get a little bit higher up. It just feels better higher up, and boy, is there a ton of room. I can actually pull the seat up, and I'm not at the limit yet, higher and higher, and not be even close to the ceiling. Man, is that nice. I think it's enough for me to forgive the brim or the hat look that they added to the Tacoma in order to achieve more headroom inside. No longer is this truck only suited for someone around 6 foot or less. I think if you're vertically gifted, you're probably going to fit in here nice and cozy now. But let's get to the lift, right? What I did, by the way, this is a TRD Sport 2-wheel drive. Yes, you can add a lift to a 2-wheel drive. I just did it. But anyway, what I did, it's a 2-inch leveling lift. So what they've done, they've kind of pulled the front up a little bit, raised the back a little as part of it as well, and gave me a level look to this truck. Now, that enabled me to put a little bit more aggressive, bigger tires, and honestly, I can go more aggressive than I already have, and I probably will down the road. I'll probably switch out to a 285 or something. I think I have a 265 or something on. I don't know. If you want to know for sure, there's a video out there about it, of course. Anyway, I put more aggressive looking tires. They're Falcon Wild Peaks. I kept the 18-inch rims. I mean, the size. I did change the rims as well, or the wheels. So it's a completely different setup. New wheels and tires and the lift as well. Now, one of the big questions or comments that I've had is that I was going to ruin the ride quality, because I have commented about how nice this truck rides, about how it feels like you're gliding nice and smooth. And I'm happy to tell you right now, I don't notice any difference in ride quality. It's not firmer, it's not harder. When I go over bumps and things like we just did a couple of minutes ago, did you even notice we were on that same really rough road that I've had in many videos, and I go over that road particularly after I've had something done with the suspension just to see how the truck feels. I don't notice any issues or any problems. It is freaking awesome. I love it. So, comfort, not affected by at least a 2-inch level lift. By the way, I had it done at Toyota, so it's covered by warranty. It was Toyota's recommended lift. Of course, Toyota doesn't manufacture lifts, but it's the one that they put on the truck, so I was very happy that they did that as well. And it didn't cost me an arm and a leg. The whole job, wheels, tires, labor, lift, under $4,000. You can't beat that, in my opinion. Now, what about handling? Another thing that's come up is that I was going to ruin the handling of the truck. It wasn't going to be as, I guess, as crisp as it is now, or as responsive as it is now. That's another thing. I don't notice any difference whatsoever. Now, that might be due to the tires that I put on. I went with Falcon Wild Peaks because, in my experience, they are the best option that you can go with for the Toyota Tacoma. They look great and they give you a fantastic ride quality. I almost went with BF Goodrich KO2s. Those are the ones that the dealer had on the truck that they had lifted, a 2024 Tacoma. But I like the look of the Falcon Wild Peaks better. And honestly, the KO2s, there's nothing wrong with them, but they just don't ride as smoothly as the Falcon Wild Peaks do. The other alternative, I guess, to Falcon Wild Peaks, in my experience, is probably staying with all-terrains or stock if you're concerned about ride quality. But let's be honest, if you're going to lift the truck, you really don't want to leave those kind of boring all-season stock type tires on. Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but you could. You don't have to put bigger, more aggressive tires on the truck if you lift it. It's just going to look pretty darn funny. Now, there is something that I have noticed that might be a negative for some people, I don't know, but that is getting in and out of the truck. It was higher before, at least it felt higher to me, and I actually was utilizing that running board type step that came with the truck, which, by the way, I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of side steps or running boards anyway, but they do serve a purpose if you're not vertically gifted, or you simply just like the look of them, I guess. But they're not my favorite kind of thing. I have found now that after lifting the truck, I am actually using those steps primarily to get out. I still find myself kind of stepping over them and throwing myself into the seat, but I think if I continue doing that, I'm probably going to put a lot of wear on these seats, and I don't want to do that. So it is something to consider. If you're right around my height, about 5'9.5", and you lift the truck, you may want to maintain those running board side steps if they happen to come with your truck, because you might find them to come in kind of handy. As far as where I sit in the truck now, it does feel like I'm sitting further up in the air. Of course, doing a level lift does raise the front of the truck up a little bit, and it is noticeable. I must say the hood scoop that's on it now is more noticeable in my field of vision than it was before, and it's because it's more angled up now than down like it was. It's not really a bad thing, it's just something that you're going to notice, if you're like me anyway, that it's there. The way to compensate that, of course, and I kind of mentioned this in the beginning, and that is to adjust your seat height. The higher you sit in the cab, the more you can actually adjust your vantage point when you're looking down over the front of the truck. So you can compensate for it, and I think you can probably even get close to the 2-inch if you go with a 2-inch level lift. But the 2-inch height that Toyota puts on the front on their lift to level out the truck. So you probably could even get the same kind of feeling as what you had before. Overall, excellent experience with this lift. By the way, I highly recommend Toyota afar. Talk to Josh Linden or Edward over there, very knowledgeable guys, and helped me out a lot with what I was going to do with this truck and following through the whole process. I'm not being compensated by them to bring them up. I just think that when you have somebody good that you've worked with, you ought to give them a little bit of a nod, you know, so that we don't always concentrate on the negatives, which is what a lot of people seem to like to do on YouTube. Leave a comment. Let me know if by chance you've driven or maybe lifted the 2024 Tacoma. What did you go with and what did you think? And be honest of the end results. Are you still happy with the truck or not so much? I'd just be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.